At the time of filming this, it's halfway through January. Your New Year's resolutions are probably already failing or wavering. Whether you're watching this video in January or you're watching this later in the year, if it's come up in your algorithm later, there's no better time than now to get clarity on where you want to take your music and your music business. And this year, I'm going to go all in on these three things in my life, my music, and my business. Number one, I'm going all in on my own definition of success. There are a lot of people out there that will readily tell you what you need to become to be successful. But what do I imagine myself becoming when I envision my version of success? And what does success really mean to me? I don't want to adopt someone else's viewpoint. I want to develop and nurture something that's meaningful to me and my family and the things that I value. And I'm surprised how often when I think about this or I ask this to an artist that I'm coaching, how fuzzy this can be. And we think we know what we want with our music and in life, but we haven't done enough work yet to bring clarity to the vague vision that we have far out in front of us. I'll throw myself under the bus because when I first did this exercise, I literally didn't have a definition for success other than I want more money, I want more followers, and I just want more opportunities. But those are such bad goals because they're literally so vague and they don't mean anything or relate to anything that's really happening in my life. Another way to think of it is if I can take your goal of wanting more followers, but I can apply that to every other influencer and business owner and everyone on Instagram, basically, it's not specific enough to be powerful for your music career. And what you're missing is the why. This month, I sent my subscribers one of my courses for free. It's my music career planning bootcamp. And one of the very first days of the bootcamp was defining success for your career so that every other plan that you put into place has a North Star, so you can set your compass properly for when you do other deep work and brainstorm how you're going to get there. I just did a lecture at Belmont University and I told the students to not be surprised if the first version of their dreams and their goals are just mirror images or copies of the goals that they see other people setting. And that's okay in the beginning, but you need to dig a little deeper into yourself to find your version of that, all with the goal of discovering what you really want in life and in music. I just did an end of the year survey with my subscribers, which I do every year. And one of the questions I asked them was, how do you want your life to change? Right? It's basically just asking, what do you want most in life? And there were a ton of great, insightful responses, but there were also responses that were so broad and generic that they literally meant nothing, such as I want more fans, I want more opportunities, I want financial support, I want more Spotify streams, right? And those are all good things to want. It's okay to want every single one of those things. But let's take it a step further and ask ourselves, how does that apply to the 6 core areas of life? How does that look like in your work time, in your personal time, your finances, your relationships, health, and spirituality? And how does wanting more fans affect those 6 core areas of life, right? What is that going to do for your health? What is that going to do for how you spend your time? And thinking about it in that way is going to forge a lot more depth and personalize that goal so that it actually means something when it comes true in your life. There's an inspirational quote floating around, and I've seen a few different versions of this quote. I'm going to create yet another one so that it relates to us as musicians. It goes, if God answered every one of your prayers, would your music change the world or would it just change your stream count? This is a great mental check to find out if we're just focusing on the end result, right? Getting more streams and getting more money, right? Versus focusing on the source of where it all comes from, impacting lives and winning over fans through genuine relationships, right? If our music is truly impacting the world, everything else will come. So think about that as you're setting your goals, because just wanting more money and more streams, it's okay to want those things, but that might just be scratching the surface for what you truly desire from your music. By the way, if you feel like you need more guidance and you want to do the exercises that I laid out for my students, I'm going to drop a link down below where you can register for the 5-day music career planning bootcamp. That's where all this material is from, and it's an actual product that I created that my students have gone through, and I'm going to let you join on a pay what you want basis because you're a subscriber of this channel. So feel free to join and leave a tip and pay whatever you think it's worth. I've had students finish and say they'd pay $200 for the breakthroughs that they got in this workshop. So I know it'll be well worth it for you. No matter what, whether you pay $1 to $100, you'll get every lesson just the same. It's quick, 5 days long, powerful insights, action steps, and exercises. And whether you're watching this video now or later in the year, it's never too late to course correct and find the better path for your music career. This leads us to number 2. I'm going to go all in on weekly habits, right? Number 1, just focused on clarity. And number 2 is going to actually get me where I need to go. Let me know if this sounds like you, because for me in the past, I've always focused on lofty, big goals, such as I want to record an EP, or I want to write a book, or I want to build a new course, or I want to start a business, or whatever it is. And those lofty, big goals, they do have value. It is good to think of those things, but having the goal itself is not a path to getting there. And what I have fallen into in the past is writing down that goal and thinking about that goal, but then getting stuck as to how to get there. And what I'm going to do this year is I'm going all in on weekly habits, which means I'm going to imagine the version of myself that accomplished that goal and reverse engineer what I had to do every single week to get there. For example, if it's your goal to grow to 100,000 followers on Instagram, what would be the weekly actions of an artist who is the person that would get to 100,000 followers? I know that might sound weird, but if you were going to create a version of yourself or a version of Ryan that had the habit that would inevitably get me to 100,000 followers, what would I do every single week? That's the kind of brainstorming that turns into my weekly Instagram habit. At the end of the year, because of that habit, I would have done the work to get me to 100,000 followers. You might be wondering, Ryan, is this one of your real goals? And it is, except my platform of choice is YouTube, not Instagram. Maybe it will be Instagram one day. And so it is my goal to reach 100,000 YouTube subscribers this year. And if you are a viewer who is not yet subscribed, you can help me reach that goal by hitting the subscribe button right now. If this channel has ever given you value, either today or over the past few years, I would really appreciate your help. I'm still refining exactly what I want my weekly habits to be, but so far, I'm going to be growing a writing habit so that I can write more music, write more content for you and my subscribers, and also write some of the early pages for a book that I have in my head and on my heart to write. Second is growing a content habit like I just described, except for YouTube. That's my platform of choice. And the third habit that I have on my list so far for 2025 is growing a better learning habit, which means reading more books regularly, purchasing courses that I'm interested in, and continuing to invest in coaching, because the reason that I coach artists is so that I can make them think differently and unlock their mind for their situation. And I want that for myself, right? I've had coaches that have said one sentence to me and it has unlocked a whole new revenue stream, a whole new growth path. And I love offering that to artists as well. If you're interested in coaching, by the way, there is a link in the description. So if you want to do that, reach out and we can discover if we're a good match and make headway in your music career. Now, the other side of setting your habits is tracking your habits, right? So if I want to build and grow a writing habit, that means that if I plan to write 3 times a week, I would need to have my weekly tracker. And there's many ways to do this. You can do this with pen and paper and write out all of your weekly habits with a little checkbox. And as you complete your weekly habits, you just cross them off your paper list. And this can be a great way to see your progress as the week progresses and to put a little pressure on yourself. But also there's a lot of freedom. If it's later in the week and you need to play a little catch up, you have the freedom to do that. Instead of using pen and paper, you can use an app like Notion or Todoist and create create a template for your weekly habits, and then you can digitally check them off once you complete them, either on your computer or with your mobile device. And that brings us to the sponsor of this video, LANDR. For the past 3 years, I've been recommending LANDR distribution to artists who need a professional suite of tools to produce, master, and distribute their music, all while retaining 100% of their music royalties. So when LANDR noticed my channel and asked to sponsor this video, I was more than happy to continue spreading the good news about LANDR distribution. They do so much more than just get your music onto streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, because with LANDR, you get everything you need to produce and release your music, including samples, plugins, unlimited distribution, and the world's best AI mastering engine. Plus, meet with your team anywhere in the world with real-time music collaboration software, and tap the talents of a community of pros to take your music to the next level. All of this is included inside of LANDR Studio. Now, if you already have a music distributor but you're looking to upgrade, LANDR accepts outside ISRC codes, so moving your catalog is a breeze. Plus, they will collect the YouTube Content ID royalties for all of your songs. So if you're thinking it's time to upgrade your distributor, then click the link in the description below to get 20% off your LANDR Studio account. And then you could cancel all those multiple subscriptions and enjoy everything you need to produce and release your music with LANDR Studio. And now, back to the video. And the beauty of that is you can just duplicate your habit tracker and you don't have to manually write it out every single week on paper. For me personally, I'm probably going to use Todoist. I really like that app lately because it's simple and it's free. Speaking of simple, number 3 for this year, I am going all in on simplifying my music and my business. In the past, I've found myself to be a person who says yes to a lot of things that are in front of me, opportunities, or people make requests of me. And I tend to be the person who wants to do everything possible to serve others, even if that means creating a new product or going out of my way to serve a customer in a unique way. But there's a conflict there, right? It reaches a point where I can't go above and beyond the way that I want to when I'm doing twice as much as I probably should, right? That equation doesn't add up. And last year, I've really found that becoming clear in my life, especially with a few additions in my life, right? New baby, you probably have noticed I'm not in my usual space, right? I'm in a temporary space. I actually took over my wife's piano practice room because she's a classical pianist, and I set up my content studio here in the corner of the room because downstairs is just getting completely overhauled and painted. But here's what Simple provides. Simple provides flexibility, right? I'm actually using the most simple content setup that I've used in a while right now, and it's allowed me to move rooms and pivot and still create content for this channel, even when literally everything, all my musical instruments, the whole studio that I had, it's all in a corner right now, covered up because of the painting. And Simple actually allows me, and it'll allow you too, to move forward no matter what life will bring. Another example of seeking simplicity is, in fact, when I set up my studio, again, in a few weeks, hopefully, I'm going to set it up differently than I had before. I'm going to focus on simplicity so that I can get my ideas recorded quickly and that my instruments can be readily available. And that's going to come with some sacrifices. I'm not going to have as many channels available at the same time. I'm not going to have all of my gear set up, at least not right away. But what I want is to focus and invest in those habits that I mentioned earlier. And keeping my studio set up simple is going to help with that because I'm not going to have extra gear in the way. I'm not going to have to worry about patching channels and patching gear and all this stuff that I was interested in the past. Believe me, I love gear and I'm a gear nerd and I love recording, but it's not in line with the goals and the habits that I want to develop this year to get me further in my career. And if I am honest with myself and I truly do want growth in my music, I'm going to focus on the things that are going to get me there. And I believe strongly that simplicity is going to help me keep me focused and allow me to put more things out in the world. Another illustration, this is more on the business side, but this applies to you too, because as a musician, you are a business. I'm going to simplify my product offerings, because what I want to do is have a few good products that I just know are going to kick butt and say no to the rest. And this can apply for courses like for me. This can apply to t-shirts, like in a merch shop, for example, right? One really good, really well thought out t-shirt will outsell an average merch store of like 20 or 30 shirts, right? The thing that is relevant and resonates is going to be so much more powerful than just a variety of blah. And something that I found myself doing last year was thinking of a whole bunch of different product ideas, and I would invest time in planning it and scripting it. And right before launching it, I realized that I was chasing carrots. And so something I'm going to do is just focus on the most powerful and most simple products to bring forth to my community, to artists who need things like this. That's how I know I can best serve others, because even though simple might not sound fancy, simple can be extremely powerful. So after you plan your year and you have all of these opportunities circling around your head, remember this quote from Warren Buffett. He said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." Once you've developed your plan and once you've gone through the 5-day music career planning bootcamp, once again, that's linked in the description below. Just pay what you want. You can pay $1, you can pay $100, whatever you want. The difference between successful people and really successful people is saying no to almost everything. Once you have your plan set, you're going to be tempted by shiny object syndrome, or maybe someone convinced you temporarily that their plan is better than your plan. And what I would urge you to do is go through the boot camp and use that document that you're going to get by the end of it as your North Star for this entire year, so that you can stay on track once you've truly found what you desire as an independent artist and musician. Friend, I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, hit the subscribe button and put a thumbs up on this video to help the YouTube algorithm. If you feel that a musician friend that you know needs to watch this video, go ahead and text them this link really quick. That would be awesome. And until next time, best of luck with your music, and I'll see you in a future video on this channel. I want to give you a free gift for hanging out with me today. It's my free course called the Spotify Playlist Marketing Manual. It's an easy to consume 60-minute free course that shows you the full roadmap, going from 0 streams to your first 1,000 monthly listeners to over 25,000 and beyond. In this training, I reveal what Spotify actually wants to see from you to trigger the algorithm and get free streams every time you release a new song. And I also cover how to develop multiple streams of traffic to your Spotify, including playlists, so that you could get new listeners and song saves every single day. Look, these are the same things that me and my team do for our artists at the marketing agency, and I want to share them with you inside this free training. So if you want to build an effective marketing plan for your music, whether it's a new release or your existing catalog, this training is for you. It's completely free and you can get access instantly. Just register your spot by going to indiemusicacademy.com/playlists.